Well, good morning, everyone. So the title of my talk, we're going to continue with moods and states of mind, and I'm going to speak about my recent experiences and moods. And beginning off today with a quote that we've done from, I think maybe even Sunday and Monday both, which is moods and states of mind are information. We can know them. They tell us something about attachment, fear, care, values, loss, longing, and probably a lot more. But we'll stick with that. That covers a lot of ground. So I'm going to talk more personally about some recent experiences that maybe hopefully will illuminate something about attachment, fear, care, values, loss, and longing, not in an abstract way, but in my very ordinary human way. So, what's my mood and state of mind as I write this talk? And also as I give this talk, but even more so when I was writing it. I'm tired. I had oral surgery, then something like a virus happened. I don't know. It was undiagnosed, though. I didn't try to get it diagnosed, but I don't think they can really diagnose viruses. And then I fell. Now, I don't think these were separate events. They seem dependent on one another. Recovering from surgery likely compromised my immune system, making it harder for me to fight off viruses. And then being weak and fatigued probably made me more vulnerable to falling. But don't worry. I saw Susan's face there. Don't worry. I'm slowly recovering on all counts. And thankfully, I wasn't hurt that much in the fall, just annoyingly so. But all this has shaped my mood and state of mind. Now, my main symptom all along has been fatigue, and fatigue has a way of narrowing life. It just made it hard, or maybe impossible, to do the things that usually uplift me, to focus on Dharma, to do watercolor, to exercise. I just didn't have the energy. And my body was clearly in charge, and it spoke in no uncertain terms. Rest. And in fact, every time I thought I was better and tried to do more, I felt worse. So I had to listen. So there we see attachment. I really am attached to getting better. I really feel the loss of my usual activities. But maybe more, even more than that, there's this sense of a loss of my usual sense of self. Really, I'm not usually someone who lies around and watches a lot of television. Although I have to say it was good timing that the Winter Olympics happened to be happening at this time. But at the same time, I know and knew that laying low is an act of care. It is caring for myself. Now, recovery is slower than it used to be and getting slower as I age. And I'm just a slow recoverer. I'm not sure that's a word. But thankfully, I didn't get caught in blaming myself for that. In the past, I might have turned that fall and that slow recovery into a personal failure. I might have criticized myself for being so slow to heal. But thankfully, this particular awful state of mind didn't take over. But still, my usual upbeat self, she hasn't been around and I miss her. So there's longing. Longing for my usual energy, longing for my usual mood, my usual self. My usual mood, excuse me, feels like my usual self. And yeah, I know the teaching of anatta. I know that what I call self shifts and changes regularly. And I realize that my moods deeply impact my sense of who I am, though I clearly prefer some moods over others. And over the last week and a half since surgery, my mood has fluctuated. I felt quite hopeful soon after surgery because it seemed like I was doing really well, especially when my dentist said, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. By the way, this was the ninth of 9 oral surgeries. So I was feeling upbeat. This was the ninth. This could be the end. But then discouraged as I felt sicker in the days that followed. And then I felt really disoriented and irritable after the fall. And hope, and it was interesting that irritability, we had spoken about it earlier, but I felt like my body felt irritable and I was irritable. You wouldn't have wanted to be my partner that day. And hopeful again today because I'm sensing a bit of energy returning and I'm able to work again. So back to that original quote, moods as information. And some of the information that it showed me my attachment to health, to energy, and yes, I must say, to a certain version of myself. They showed me care in the need and actually the doing of resting, the need to rest and actually resting. That showed me loss of my vitality and of my identity to some extent. And they revealed longing for what feels familiar and preferred. So we often give 10-minute Dharma talks, but today this one's going to be a little shorter because when I was writing it last night, I didn't have the ideas and the energy for more. And perhaps that is also part of my practice, accepting those limits. Of course, I wish it was otherwise. I would prefer to feel brighter, sharper, more expansive, but this is where acceptance becomes helpful. This mood, this state of mind, this body saying rest, all of this is information. And we can bring, and I am bringing all of it into my practice and my understanding of Dharma. So I'm